Many Pokémon trainers ask the question, is it worth it to buy a legendary battle deck? Possibly intended to lure Pokémon Go players into the TCG with the iconic symbols of teams Mystic, Valor, and Instinct. These decks come both at the end of a year full of 20th anniversary celebrations, as well as on the heels of a recent battle deck product. But are these cards to be coveted by collectors and competitors alike? Or has nostalgia finally hit a point of oversaturation? Let's take a look. A legendary battle deck contains the following: one ready-to-play 60-card expanded deck, including 2 Pokemon EX cards and 8 basic foil energy, 1 plastic coin, 1 code card to receive the entire deck's contents online, cardboard damage counters, as well as a quick start guide and rules sheet. The first thing to point out is that none of these decks are standard legal. They are expanded decks, and not particularly competitive ones at that. There are, however, some good cards here, but the decks as a whole aren't going to be very successful unless you do some major upgrades, or much more likely, just strip for parts, taking the cards you need and discarding all the rest. In addition to the legendary birds, each deck contains the appropriate EV evolution from Plasma Freeze. While many of the individual cards within them are played in standard, some of which are even staples, this supplemental set is meant to encourage and support the expanded format, and thus nothing is being added to standard through it. Which is too bad, because I would love for this Flareon with its Vengeance attack to get a go at standard, but again, there are a few decent cards here, and of course the Hollow Energy. As far as expanded is concerned, I'm happy to see the format supported, but there's not really any in-demand cards included here. Since these feature Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, it is hard not to see a connection between them and the recent Pokemon Go craze. Now, I actually think it makes a lot of sense to try and capitalize on all the excitement that was generated into Pokemon Go and to try and direct some of those players to the TCG through doing something like this, a Legendary Birds battle set. Unfortunately, there's a big difference between a great idea and great execution. First and foremost is the fact these are all Plasma Storm cards. It surprises me that Nintendo did not create new Pokémon X cards to both interest standard players and, quite frankly, offer something more accessible to potential new players. Plasma cards are a narrow interest and audience, even within expanded. So unless you are into making an expanded Plasma deck, there's just not much here. Trying to create appeal to Pokemon Go players who may have played the TCG in the past, or may just be interested in starting, is actually really clever. But doing so via selling them an expanded Plasma deck? It's not very effective. Take, for example, the fact that the Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos pins are not even included in this product, but instead included in the Legendary Birds blister packs, which to me is bizarre because these blister packs aren't really for brand new players and have nothing to do with the Legendary Birds beyond having the pin. The pin should have gone in these battle decks, and if they weren't going to make a new EX card, then alternate art would have been very welcome for existing players. But let's say there's a bunch of Pokemon Go players that want to get that Legendary Bird pin, so they buy a TCG product. With these blister packs, they don't actually end up with a playable deck. Yes, cracking boosters is highly addictive, and that could be a good gateway to the TCG, but I feel that walking away with a playable deck seems much more likely to get them playing and hopefully convert them from Pokemon Go to the TCG. Besides, a new player is going to be much better off becoming familiar with the more widespread widespread standard format before diving into expanded. Or perhaps this could have been a great opportunity to make some kind of mega bundle, putting boosters, pins, and a playable theme deck all in one package. Alternate art, maybe a new EX card to create added interest for existing players, but also include an easy-to-pilot deck, more along the lines of a theme deck for new players, a few packs for that addictive booster pack opening fun, and of course the pin to help entice Pokemon Go players. Seems like a missed opportunity for a really effective product. What about financial value? MSRP is $19.99 on these, and the total value of each is little more than double that. But what are you getting, really? You get one Versus Seeker in each deck, as well as 2 Ultra Balls and not 1 but 2 N, which is all really impressive. Great things to have. 8 foil energy cards in each is nice bling, but that's really where all of the value is coming from. Beyond this, there's not much of note here. While each has a few special interest inclusions like Colress and Getsis, only solid interest here is N, the Ultra Balls, and the VS Seeker, as they are staples in so many decks. For expanded, these are not the EX cards you are looking for, and so when you remove the financial value of those holo foil energy cards, the couple extra bucks for N and company, there's just not much else left. Now, I am all for expanded support. In fact, I am a major fan of the format, but to release these right on the heels of the far superior Keldeo versus Rayquaza battle decks is possibly oversaturating people's interest in expanded. In comparison to that Keldeo versus Rayquaza battle deck, which were very recently released, you are getting so much less here. Never mind the financial value those battle decks had upon their release. You also got 2 very playable decks, easy to pilot, but also reasonably competitive by themselves and easily upgraded. This means you could sit down and get games against a friend, play in tournaments online. You got a lot more in the way of staple cards, and thus all around the needs of both new and existing player alike were met, and not for that much more cost. I'll still point to the Keldeo versus Rayquaza as the best battle deck to buy here. Final conclusion, unless you're into expanded plasma decks, there's no reason to ever get these. No new EX cards, no alternate art, and not even a legendary bird pin. The decks are, by themselves, not very easy to pilot and far from competitive. Financial value is lethargic as well. Given the Pokemon Go craze we experienced this year, this was a missed opportunity to try and bring in new and returning players through the iconic legendary birds. For both new and existing players, your money is best spent elsewhere. Grade C-, not quite wholly unacceptable, but very, very close. I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. You can help me out by remembering to like, share, especially by subscribing, or even just by leaving a comment. Which Pokemon TCG product would you like to see a review of next? Let me know in the comments below. And this video has been brought to you in part by a sponsorship from Card Kingdom, as well as the Patreon support of viewers like you. So thank you.